Yo, welcome back to another video, people. It is the 10th of February 2026. What is going on? That's like 10% through the year already. Kind of crazy. But I'm going to bring you with me on a random Tuesday here in Sydney, see what I get up to as a 25-year-old Irish young fella, just waiting for my steak to be ready for my first meal of the day. And I also was speaking about my weight cut on Instagram the other day, and somebody asked, I'll put it on the screen, about how I've found cutting back alcohol. And I think it's an interesting topic, especially living in a place like this. Even in Ireland, you know, the alcohol culture is pretty high. So I'm going to speak about that as well, because I think it's interesting. And yeah, let's go. A couple of client check-ins boxed off there. It is now time to train legs. I really don't want to, but you gotta do it anyway, folks. Let's go. Right, I usually do deadlifts first in my session, but I've done a few exercises before the deadlifts today. Don't ask me why. Yeah, man is sweating. Training legs in Sydney is no easy task. This is the only exercise I'm gonna show today, because who really wants to see my workout? If you do, then you can let me know, but I feel like nobody really cares. By the way, if you're not using wrist straps, guys, for pulling movements, especially deadlifts, but also, you know, your lat pull downs, your rows, etc., I mean, you're missing out on serious gains. This is 5 kg increase from last week. We'll see how many we get. That's 8, we'll take that. So back home now, stopped off in Coles on the way back. I go to the supermarket every day and I just get my shift for the day instead of doing a weekly shop. I don't know why, but anyway, if anyone else is the same, do let me know. That session was awful, but in a good way. Really, really progressive. Went up in either reps or weight on every single lift. And also, if you are not tracking your lifts, guys, on a weekly basis, how do you expect to see consistent progress? I actually have myself set up on the same app as my clients, and it's a game changer. Makes life so much easier. Now, I'm gonna show you the best sweet treat I've probably ever discovered so far. I'm always on the hunt for new ones for my clients and for myself, but when you are in the fat loss phase, they are the handiest thing ever. So let's get right into it. By the way, I'm still overheating from the steam room. I probably just about lasted 10 minutes. I probably looked like I was really deep in thought while I was in the steam room, but in reality, I was just thinking, what would be a worse way to go? Drowning in the middle of the ocean, or being stuck in a steam room? Honestly, I'm saying steam room. Anyway, it's actually really easy, right? Honestly, try this for yourself. It's a game changer. 1 egg. I did not spill any of the egg, promise. 35 grams of flour. I'm kind of raw dogging it because I'm so used to it now. 25 grams of vanilla protein powder. About 10 to 15 grams of honey. 5 grams baking powder. 50 grams of Greek yogurt. And 70 mils of your milk of choice. I just go with full fat. You mix that all together and you get a pretty nice consistency. That's now looking pretty perfect, and I have my washed blueberries to put on top. You can kind of put whatever fruit you want, but blueberries, for me, are the goat. Once your fruit is in, you're ready to put it into the oven, 180 degrees for about 20 to 25 minutes. The sweet spot, I think, is around 22. Here's how that should look, by the way, so just gonna pop that in. See you in a while, pal. Sweet tooth is clearly calling after that leg session, but under 400 calories in that and over 30 grams of protein. That's an extremely good return, and it tastes unreal, satisfies that craving. So yes, you can consume things you actually enjoy consuming while losing body fat. I'm really feeling a lot leaner now the last few days. I can feel my appetite going up a little bit, but nothing too concerning yet. Feeling pretty good. I may go to the beach. The weather is a bit hit or miss, but I'm kind of craving a sea swim, and the bus stop is right outside our place. Brings you right to the Frenchman's Bay, which if you've been watching my videos, you'll probably know I fucking love that beach. So yeah, probably gonna go after this. Okay, so it is now out 22 minutes. Here's how it's looking. Little bit gooey, tiny bit gooey in the middle is perfect because it all kind of blends in. And honestly, it's like a pancake sort of texture. It's like a little fucking protein cake. It's honestly top tier. Now it's all blended in. There we go. Cannot wait to have that. I don't know if it looks good on the camera, if it does it justice, but I promise you, it's worth trying. So on the alcohol topic, right, because in a place like this, yes, it is hard to resist at times, but to answer that question specifically about pulling back on alcohol, and by the way, I haven't completely stopped, I've just reduced, I've only drank once in the past 4 weeks, I think it is. Full transparency, I didn't find it too difficult because yes, there was a lot of temptation, but I've been pretty easily declining a lot of nights out recently because I genuinely just didn't want to go to them because of how messy December was. I just felt like I needed to get back on my shit. And I'd like to think, you know, my fear of missing out, as they call it, isn't really there anymore like it would have been maybe 5 or 6 years ago. and I have a big purpose in terms of the coaching business and who I want to impact. And I think if you're somebody who always wants to go out because you don't want to miss out, you should probably ask yourself why that is. That's not me saying never drink. You can still go out maybe once per week, for example, and still reach a lot of goals. But for me, it just didn't align, and it felt like I was going on nights out, not really enjoying myself, just kind of standing there on the dance floor like, what am I doing? Getting another drink, being like, why the fuck am I tapping my card on this? I just felt like I needed a break from it, you know. And in regards to my own relationship with alcohol, I think it's healthy to a degree, but like I just said there, I felt like I wasn't really enjoying myself anymore, or maybe I had to drink more to enjoy it, and I never want to be in that place, you know. So that was a big telltale sign for me that I think if you continue to do that all the time through maybe the fear of missing out or whatever it may be, that's when the bad relationship might develop, you know. Because funnily enough, as I said, I've gone out maybe once in the past 4 weeks, and that was actually in Bondi last Saturday, and I had an amazing time. And maybe it's because that novelty was kind of back in a way. So I think that's also something to consider. If you're going out all the time, that novelty can largely, I suppose, wear off. I do honestly think there's a big period coming up where I just will not drink for ages, not because I have a bad relationship with alcohol, but just because I know I'm more productive without it. And I think there should be, especially if you're trying to build something, periods in the year where you just avoid it, you know, because you will probably do your best work and be your most productive self. But I think a big step in the right direction to actually having a good relationship with social life, going out, drinking, is only going when you actually want to go, not because you're being forced to go or you feel like you'll miss out, because that's, as I said, when the bad relationship will develop. And I would also suggest staying away from the nights out where you feel like you're going to have to actually get more drunk to enjoy it. That's another one. Because yes, drinking is fun, right? I'm not just going to stand here and say it's not fun. I have a great time when I'm drinking. It's I have great memories. But if you feel like you're going to something and you feel like the need to drink more just to enjoy it, then that's probably not something you should go to. And also, if you feel like you're only going out to, for myself, you know, I've found myself maybe going out, and you know, I'm being fully honest here, I'm being real, because I know other people experience this. There have been a couple of times where I'm just like, oh, I want to, you know, get with a girl tonight, so I'm just going to go out. Like, I just don't think that's really healthy, you know. So that's another one where I'd probably, draw the line a bit. And also, I think on that, if you are going on a date with someone, I think a lot of us are programmed to just, you know, on autopilot say, oh yeah, let's go for a drink, which is fine. That can be fun. But recently, I've been trying to actually go on more sober dates, whether that's to the beach or for a coffee, because it doesn't always have to be drinks, right? So that's another thing, and that's also stopping you from spending so much money and drinking less, of course, which is a positive. And you know, I'm just trying to go on the nights out which I want to genuinely go to. Like, I feel like, oh yeah, I'm actually really looking forward to this, you know. And that's not to say I'm perfect and the previous thoughts that I've spoken about won't enter my head again, because they absolutely will. And you know, spontaneous drinks sometimes can be an absolute great laugh, but I'm just saying, something to food for thought. And lastly, your environment. Of course, your environment is going to massively determine whether you drink more or less. And something I haven't ever really spoken about, which I'm not going to go into detail, but I've never really found people who do the same thing as me. Of course, I have some of my boys at home who are great people and I miss them, they're fucking great lads. But I've just never found my people who are great friends and humans, but also do the same thing as me. And that's maybe hard for somebody who's trying to build something, and that's still something I'm trying to navigate. Even here in Sydney, I still haven't found that. So I'm kind of hoping one day that happens, where I have my people that I can maybe travel with and do the same work as, make killer videos, etc. Fortunately, that just hasn't happened for me. But that's another thing, right? Environment. Because I know if I was in that environment, I'd probably never fucking drink, to be honest, because I'd just be grinding 24/7, which maybe isn't good either, but you know what I mean, right? You know what I'm trying to get at. Anyway, that's enough yapping on the alcohol topic. I'm only 25, I'm almost 26, but there are still plenty of amazing nights out coming up in the next couple of years, right? I'm in my 20s. I'm just saying, these are some of the thoughts that have been, I suppose, going through my head recently. But yeah, anyway, I think it's an hour and 20-minute walk home, and I haven't gotten many steps for today, so just gonna walk, listen to some tunes, think about life. Bosh. Catch you in a bit. God, that was a long walk. Stopped for a chicken tikka masala on the way. I have like over 1,000 calories left for the day, so I am chilling, gonna get into this, and 6-7. That meme actually needs to be expedited. Anyway, gonna get into this, watch some YouTube, then work. Also, a bit off topic, but I feel like every guy in his 20s goes through multiple phases of this in his 20s, not knowing what to do with your hair. Like, I'm happy to keep the mullet to some degree, but I don't know what to do with the top anymore. Kind of sick of it just being like that, you know? Because my hairline's good. I can maybe do curtains or something, but how do you keep it in that spot? Maybe hairspray, I don't know, I'm not really experienced with it. But anyway, that's a thought I have multiple times a day. By the way, if you are subscribed and you like the video, then you're a really cool person and you're really sound, so just saying. So it is now 5 to 10 at night, just been working there the last while. Client check-ins and catch-ups, again, that is something I do pretty much every day, and organised a call with somebody there who's interested in coaching for tomorrow, and just some other random bits and bobs. I'm going to plan some content as well, and also booked a flight. Myself and Rob, 2 weeks from today, are heading to Indonesia. So those flights are booked, confirmed, accommodation booked for the first week, and then we'll sort something after that. So that'll just be a couple of weeks that we're there, focusing on being as productive as possible. And what I said earlier, you know, about, I suppose, meeting people who are aligned with what you're doing as a career and do something similar to you, that's something I experienced in Bali last year in 2025, you know, literally just sitting in a sauna. You're probably going to come across an online coach or somebody along those lines. So Bali's a great place for that. So hopefully it will be good for networking, creating new content, and yeah, just being as productive as possible, like I say, and training hard, enjoying the sun. Yes, having a bit of fun, but this time compared to last year, it's going to be a lot more work focused. So I'm really looking forward to that. So yeah, staying here for the next 2 weeks in this apartment, and then we are off. And some exciting things coming, to be fair, you know. And I even have a call with a potential mentor there, I think tomorrow night, basically about him helping me in some way regarding business, and that could be something that's really special as well. I really like the look of kind of what he does, and I'm always looking to level up in whatever way that I can and learn as much as I can. So that's another thing. And then with the whole Bali thing, I potentially will go to Philippines after Bali as a solo trip. I think I mentioned that in my last video. So that's looking pretty likely, actually. And then my birthday, my birthday's on the 27th of March, so I'll be 26, a bit mad. But yeah, I don't know where I'll be for my birthday. I could come back to Sydney, you know, I could go back home, who knows? But yeah, I'll decide that when it gets kind of closer to the date. But yeah, a lot of me really does think Ireland could be a good idea for the summer, especially if we get into a World Cup. But you know, pretty much all my clients are in Ireland, and I would love to do a meet-up over the summer, so that's potentially on the cards. But honestly, who knows? I'm not going to put anything set in stone right now. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this vlog. It probably came across as if I was a bit of a loner. I swear I'm not that bad. I mean, I do love my own company, but I do interact with humans. Just today's one of them days where I was on my own pretty much for the whole day, so that's all right too. But anyway, yeah, appreciate you watching. As always, just said I'd do this quick vlog and chat about a few bits and bobs. And yeah, of course, I'll be back next week with a new video. Have a good one, folks.